Greetings, happy Wednesday to all of you. Glory and honor to the Father Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the sea, the firmament, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all that's in the earth. Greetings and glory to Father Yahweh and to his Son, our high priest, who is the sacrifice for sin and our perfect righteousness before the Father, Yahweh Shah. Glory and honor to the name of Yahweh Shah, and glory and honor to the name of the Father Yahweh. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered into the four corners of the earth through slavery and are now awakening to who they are and returning to their God. Greetings to the 144,000 among them who are the forerunners of the return of Yahweh Shah and the establishment of the Messianic kingdom in just the next few years. Greetings. Greetings to the precious souls among the Gentiles who have given themselves over to the truth of who the true Hebrews are, who the true Messiah is, and the perfect righteousness and glory of the Father Yahweh. Greetings. Greetings also to the chat. Brother Baldy Thorpe, Sister Hebrewist Wanda, Brother Iman Pakaj, Sister Love Blue, Brother Superstar, Brother Tony Brown, Brother Gary Joseph, Brother Naviska 23, Brother Lonnie and Sister Joyce, Brother Stephen Kelly, and all others. Greetings. So much going on this week. We normally do. Raw Wednesdays are current events, and this is going to be no different. Hazak. Greetings. I wanted to first give a report. I went to Connecticut last week and I saw Brother Ron. I felt all your prayers. I seriously did. And I praised the Most High. When I got on my knees in Connecticut, I was praising the Most High because all your prayers, I felt it. I felt the spirit of all the brothers and sisters praying for Brother Ron from the Most High Yah. And I was able to lay hands and pray with Brother Ron and his beautiful wife, Karen. He is in tremendous spirits, as I would expect for a man that has such a horrible disease of ALS. But he is in tremendous spirits, and he is upbeat, and he is strong, and he is spirit in spirit. We praise the Most High. And I went, and did y'all know on Sunday I was with my friend Tracy at her place on the lake, and I was able to pray with her also as well. Praise the Most High, and witness to her as well, and talk to her about the Most High. Praise the Most High, yeah, for that. I don't believe anything is coincidence. So I was supposed to be where I was, and I was supposed to see the people that I saw. And you know what I learned, brethren? It's the spirit that's with us of the Father. That's the biggest witness. As a matter of fact, notice this in Exodus chapter, I believe, is 32. Yes, it's Exodus 33. Exodus chapter 33. Exodus 33. I'm going to begin at verse 12 and go from verse 12 down to verse 17. Excuse me, Exodus 33 from verse 12 to verse 17. And Moses said unto Yahweh, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. Now therefore I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not in that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. Now, brethren, that was a promise for not just Moses, but for Israel as well, for all Israel, that he would go with us, that he would be with us, and that his presence would be with us, and his spirit would be with us. See? And so, brethren, when the best witness that we can give is to walk in the spirit, as the Bible says. In fact, as Galatians says, in Galatians, I believe it's chapter 5. Galatians chapter 5. Yes, I believe it is Galatians chapter 5. Let's see. Here it is. It's Galatians 5. I'm going to begin at verse 25. Galatians chapter 5, verse 25. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. So when we walk in the Spirit of the Father, Yah, that in and of itself is a witness, because his presence is with us. And he says to Moses, I will give thee rest. So when we are learning, and that's where we're at, obviously, where all of us are right now, we're learning to trust the Father. And we're learning to trust in his rest. Praise the Most High. And of course, in the great day of atonement, there was a provision given from Moses, from the Most High through Moses, and we put it that way. And let's go there also in Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus 23, talking about the Day of Atonement, which we are still in. There's an extension of the Day of Atonement in the heavenly sanctuary, and we know why. We know why. We know why there's an extension of time in the Day of Atonement. We know it's because of the 144,000. What is that extension of time about? Well, we know Revelation tells us it's about our sealing, that we are going to be sealed, that he's holding everything until we're sealed. Now, part of that sealing, or the receiving of the Father's seal of his righteousness, is Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus 23, beginning at verse 26. Leviticus 23, beginning at verse 26. Going to read from verse 26. Let's see. Down to verse 32. But really, the emphasis is on verse 32. But let's context read the whole thing. Leviticus chapter 23, from verse 26 to verse 32. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, also in the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you. And ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before Yahweh your Most High. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Shabbat of rest. And ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even unto even, ye shall celebrate your Sabbath. So they were basically, the affliction of the soul means, well, let me ask you, brethren. When somebody asks you, what does it mean to afflict your soul? What does that mean? What are you doing? Are you beating yourself up? What exactly are you doing when you're afflicting your soul? What are you doing on the 9th and 10th day? That's right. It's time of repentance. That's what the Father's about. It's the repentance. And he said, you're going to rest, which means You're trusting in him. So let's put it all together. He said, my presence will go with you, Israel, and I'm going to give you rest. He says, walk in the spirit. He says, during this day of atonement, it's the Shabbat of rest, which means we are trusting the Father and learning to trust him and rest in him. That, what I found, is the greatest witness. Greater than anything we could say. Why? Because the Spirit is speaking more than we are. And isn't that what we want? We want the Father's voice to be spoken. Praise the Most High. Now, while we're in Moses, let's take a look at Deuteronomy chapter 28. A famous chapter for us, especially us awakened Hebrews, is Deuteronomy chapter 28. Now, when we read Deuteronomy chapter 28, we understand, we learn who we are from the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And when we look at these curses, I want to, let's see. I'm going to read from verse 48 down to verse 50, we're going to highlight a couple of verses here. Okay? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 from verse 48 to verse 50. We'll read a couple of others also. But Deuteronomy chapter 28 from verse 48 to verse 50. Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fly. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, who shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. When we read that, does it appear to you that these enemies that the Father will put us under their control are going to help us? Is their goal to benefit us? Is their goal to repay us for what they did? Okay, let's keep reading. Let's go verse 64 and 65. Deuteronomy 28, 64 and 65. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot rest. But Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. So our enemies, does it appear to you that they're going to make us happy? That they're going to give us joy? That they're going to repair and give us reparations for what they did to us? Does it appear that that's what the prophecy is saying? No. Okay. Let's look at some other witnesses. Ezekiel, we got to go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 36. Ezekiel chapter 36. I'm going to begin at one of my favorite sections with respect to this. Ezekiel chapter 36, beginning at verse 17 and going down to verse 19. Ezekiel 36, 17 to 19. Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman. Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they had polluted it. And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries, according to their way, according to their doings. I judged them. So, brethren, again, I ask, does it appear to you that we're going to be treated well in our enemy's land, that we're in our enemy's land to prosper, that the system of our enemies is going to bless us. Does that appear to be the case according to the prophecy that we just read? Doesn't appear to be to me. Doesn't look like it, does it? Not to me. Right. We shall be the tail and not the head. It's not looking like we're supposed to get blessed here. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to. Let's go to. Oh, there's too many. You know, there's a lot of witnesses. Luke. Let's go to Luke. Let's go to Luke chapter 21. I need to find one. There's a lot of them, as you know. We can go to a lot of books. Zechariah, we can go to Zephaniah, we can go to a lot of books. But let's use the Messiah's words in Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. Let's see. I'm going to read, let's cut right to the chase and go to verse 24. Messiah's talking about us. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So again, here's our third witness. Again, I ask, does it appear to you that our enemies are going to bless us? Does it appear to you that our enemies are going to take care of us? Does it appear to you that our enemies are sincerely trying to help us? Any of these verses. So what is my point? Well, if that's the prophecy, right? And we believe, those of us that are seeking the glory of the Father and followers of his word, we understand, we believe the prophecies, right? Therefore, we can say with all certainty that as those of us that are in the United States of America, as descendants of slaves, have not been brought here to be blessed. Am I correct or not? We have not been brought here in chains to be blessed. That's not why we're here. Are we not here as a form of punishment for worshiping other gods? And brethren, again, just in case, when we look back at our history, the Bible says, in fact, when you look at the covenant, right? The covenant said, I am Yahweh, your most high, that brought you out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's our God talking to us about our experience in the land of Mizraim, aka Africa, right? So we can also see parallels in the deliverance from Mizraim or Egypt to where we're going to be delivered now. So let me ask you, was it in the Egyptians' heart to help the Israelites escape Egypt? Was it in their heart to bless them? Is that what they wanted them for in Egypt? So here we are in modern Egypt, right? We're in America, modern Egypt. And so all of the history here, then we can surmise that all of our history in this country has been filled with disappointment, with fear, with being hoodwinked and bamboozled and used and exploited. That's our full history here, with no exceptions. And the only time that there appeared to be an exception is when they needed us for something. For example, Civil War. It was a fierce battle. In fact, the Civil War is, by historians' accounts, the most bloodiest war America was ever involved in. with the most deaths of Americans at any other war. In fact, more deaths of Americans happened in the Civil War, they say, and you can look this up yourself, than all other wars America was involved with combined. Over 500,000 deaths as a result of the war. And so it was a fierce war. And in order to win the war, and by the way, here's my first suggestion. I put it in the description box. Malcolm X describes the Civil War. It's a short video. I got several videos you're going to want to look at in this description box today. One of them, Malcolm X describes the Civil War and why it was fought. And so it was fought so that the North would beat the South. That's why we were let loose from our chains by Lincoln, because he recruited us to beat the South. Without us, they wouldn't have won. That's a fact. Without setting the slaves free, the North would have lost the war. So they needed us. That's why they took the chains off. Once they won, that is the North, the Union Army beat the Confederates, the cities of the main cities, the major cities of the United States in the South were destroyed. Destroyed. Wilmington, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, destroyed. Atlanta, destroyed. New Orleans, destroyed. Nashville, destroyed. All of Richmond, destroyed as a result of that war. Okay? Charleston, destroyed. So what happened? They needed the place to be rebuilt. And they had a period of time after the Civil War that they called Reconstruction. Reconstruction had a lot to do with the ex-slaves. In fact, the ex-slaves were the leaders of the Reconstruction. They were senators, lawyers, builders, developers, congressmen that were ex-slaves and helped rebuild all of those cities. Helped rebuild them. Jackson, Mississippi, all of them cities. Once those cities were rebuilt, almost immediately, Jim Crow came. Almost immediately. Because they were what? Finished with us. They finished using us. The next war that come around, World War I. At that time, they thought World War I was the end of the world. They really did. And they had us help them win that war. And we thought by fighting in that war, we being the so-called black men, the Hebrews, we thought by fighting with them in that war, we were going to get equal rights. They were going to see that we loved our country and they would surely give us equal rights and treat us fairly. Once that war was over, brothers was coming back with their uniforms all proud, and they were being hung from trees in their uniforms. They called it Red Summer, 1919. Then came World War II. Same thing. We fell for it. We fell for the okie doke. Started thinking, man, maybe we could show them that we're good Americans. And we fought in World War II. And we helped them win. Without us, they would not have won World War II. But we did not get no New Deal. Not for several generations did we get any benefit from the New Deal. While they did, we did not. Instead, we got redlining. It wasn't just, and you know, Kazak is right. It was segregated, but it was worse. See, we wouldn't have had a problem. See, Black Wall Street was segregated. Tulsa, Oklahoma was segregated. We had no problem with that. The problem was they wouldn't allow us to prosper in their system. We had no problem being separated. We're separated in Black Wall Street. We're separated in Wilmington, North Carolina. We had no problem. We were separated in Brooklyn at the time. We had no problem being separated. But it wasn't equal. The minute they thought we were prospering in their system, they burn our stuff down. Because they couldn't allow us to be equal, because we weren't brought here to be equal. Then after the redlining came the infiltration of drugs from other countries. We being the poorest of all the people on the planet Earth, especially poorest in the United States of America, we being the poorest ones. All of a sudden, heroin started showing up in our neighborhoods. And then when that wasn't killing us fast enough, crack with cocaine that came from overseas started filling up our neighborhoods. Then suddenly, the poorest people had access to all kinds of guns and bullets in the same area. And then we were losing a generation. So all of our time here, and then of course, we followed that up. The so-called President Biden pushed the 3 strikes law with Hillary Clinton. That's who pushed it. It was Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden that pushed the 3 strikes law. Which brings me to today. So here's Barack Obama, again, in the description box. Here's Barack Obama. And he gonna try to tell Black men that we all should be voting for Kamala Harris. The choice could not be clearer. That she's not getting the energy and the support that he got. Unfortunately, for the Coon Barack, unfortunately for the Coon Barack, he don't understand what is happening. There's an awakening going on. You and I know it. There's an awakening going on. It's been going on. And when we got bamboozled, I speak for myself. I got bamboozled by Barack Obama because I wanted to see a Black president. I couldn't believe he was actually winning. I couldn't believe he beat Hillary in Iowa. I couldn't believe he was beating her. And I said, man, I want to see a Black president. So I was forced myself to ignore. I had blinders on. If whatever he believed, whatever his policy was, didn't matter. I just wanted to see him be president. So in 2008, and that was the first time in my life I voted for a Democrat. I never trusted Democrats. I got to be honest. I never did. I was like some of these dudes today thinking you could trust Trump. I thought, well, the Republicans are better for us. Then when I realized they was conning us in 1988 and 1992, I went to the independent, like Malcolm X said, go independent, he said. Make them come for you. We never got that part. But I became independent. I still was registered as an independent. But that was the first time in my life I voted for a Democrat. I always thought they was conning us. I always did. But I let the skin, Barack, and especially Michelle. See, Barack, I wasn't even sure he was a Hebrew. But Michelle, I knew was. South side of Chicago. I said, oh, shoot. A sister? They got to kiss her hand? I want to see that. And I voted for him. But soon after that, I did it twice. Thought I learned my lesson after 2008, but I did it in 2012 too. But after 2012, I felt like a guy that just got taken by a salesman. Honestly, I did. I was in Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. used to be called Chocolate City. It became the Rainbow City. And I saw it. And I said, Dad, and I blamed Barack Obama. And when he could have done stuff to really help us, he didn't. He was Coonin. And I was mad. And I told myself, never again. That ain't happening no more. I ain't doing it no more. See, I can't speak for everybody on that because I believe this is an individual thing. This is where I was. But I said, that's it. You know what I mean? So he lost me. And I felt bamboozled by him. And I said, that's the last time, man. That's the last time. That's it. So with the awakening now, we start all understanding, those of us that are really awakened, the deep awakening like we are in right here, are showing us this is, we know who we are now. We are the Hebrew Israelites bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who we are. We are Judah. Judah is awakening. They know that. And when you are awakening, you start to see through Barack Obama. And even the brothers that are not quite fully awakened like we are right now, they're even saying that no. So for him to come out and try to chastise us and say, oh, you need to have the same energy you have for me, he ain't caught it. And you know why? Because he is sent. He is the house Negro that was sent out to the field. It worked the first time, but it ain't working no more. It ain't working no more. And I've been hearing brothers this week, my wife and I, lots and lots of videos of brothers talking about voting for Trump. And you know what? I can't tell a brother who to vote for. But I want to tell you, you're choosing between the boil and the toothache. You're choosing between the boil and the toothache. That's who you choose. If we in the United States of America have been brought here in chains, and our prophecies are telling us we're not here to be blessed by them. And if you actually see it, brethren, I'm going to say it like at least 9 out of 10 millionaires that are black, so-called black, that are Hebrew in the United States are millionaires based on entertainment. That's it. Millionaires based on entertainment. It's not based on attainment, not based on inventions. There's been many so-called black Hebrew inventors, many in the United States. Don't get the credit for creating what they created as fact. They give that credit to the children of your faith. Some of Edison's greatest inventions were with a black man. The cotton gin was given credit Eli Whitney, but it was a slave that did it to make his job easier. And it can go on and on. But entertainment, they exalt us. And we think we're getting over. And we not. We just coons. We just minstrels. That's it. Because our enemies are never, see, we of the awakened Hebrew sect, we understand. Our enemies ain't gonna bless us. They're not giving us no reparations. And any time that it appears they want to do something for us, we know it's an exploitation. You cannot trust them. You cannot trust them. And they have shown us this, as I just gave a brief history. And listen, did I say anything wrong? Was there anything incorrect in that history going back to the Civil War? Or is that all true? If that's all true, then we should understand we can never trust them. Ever. We are learning to trust the Most High, our Father Yah. And just as our ancient fathers were delivered by the Heavenly Father from Egypt, we will be delivered by the Heavenly Father from modern, worldwide Egypt and Babylon. We're not going to be delivered by man. There is no policy that Donald Trump or Kamala is going to do to help us. Our deliverance, brethren, are we supposed to give praise to the Father or to the Father and man? You know, I was talking to my friend Tracy about this just this weekend. Part of my witness to her. And we were talking about marriage. She just got divorced. And, you know, I know her husband. And she spent almost all weekend boo-hooing about him. And I was like, I got to the point, I said, could you just stop talking about him? You're crazy. And then she said, well, how do you and your wife do? And I said, we had our bumps. We had our serious bumps. I said, but we both prayed. And our Heavenly Father delivered us. She said, but you delivered yourself. I said, no, I didn't. And it took me a while for her to even understand the concept that there's a Father that delivers us. She said, well, no, the power is in you. See, no. I said, no. I said, you think you are God. And then she said, no, I don't. I said, you just said the power is in you. You must be a God. Because I told you my power came from above me. She said, but you asked? I said, yes. I said, if I asked you for $20, do I have power to get $20 from you? Or is it your goodness and your charity that's going to give me the $20? I said, yeah, I called on the Father, but his mercy and his grace and his power delivered me. It's hard for them to understand that concept, man. It's hard for them to understand that. But as Hebrews having been in this system, if you're not allowing yourself to be bamboozled by these fast talking politicians and look, and these entertainers, they try to make your leaders. You know how you can know when a Hebrew is for real and he's on the national stage? You know how you can know when a Hebrew is very easy. When you could tell a Hebrew is for real and he's on the national stage. You know how you could tell? He dies. He's murdered. That's how you could tell. If you see a Hebrew on a national stage and he's getting money, he's a coon. He's a sellout. Look at the difference. Did Malcolm X die a natural death? Did Kwame Ture die a natural death? Did Fred Hampton die a natural death? Did Khalid Abdul Muhammad die a natural death? And yet here's certain brothers, I won't name no names, you figure it out for yourself. Certain brothers are alive and well, getting paid, living nice, on TV. Ain't nothing happening to them. Nothing. And they're being portrayed as our leaders. They're being portrayed as our leaders. See, when we get real leaders, they get cut down. They get deported like Marcus Garvey. They get cut down like Medgar Evers. They get stopped like Martin Luther King. They get cut down. They don't live a long life. Martin Luther King said, "I'd like to live a long life. Long life is nice." He said, "But I ain't gonna live." He was telling you, "I ain't gonna live the day before he died. I've been to the mountain. I ain't gonna get there with you, but we gonna get there," because he knew. He knew. Fred Hampton, he said, "I'm gonna live for the people. I'm gonna die for the people." That's what he said. "I'm gonna live for the people and I'm gonna die for the people." And he did. Khalid Abdul Muhammad came hard, and he did. He did. That's how you know. See, because the true Hebrews, the Bible calls us the hidden ones. The Bible calls us the hidden ones. That's right, William Tyndale. William Tyndale. He's the only one that translated the Bible that we have today that was strangled and burned at the stake. All the other translations, except for the King James, all the other ones, they were just intellectual philosophers that did what they call paraphrases. That should tell you something. But the real Hebrews are the hidden ones. We're the hidden ones. See, the Most High will bring us forth when it's time. And the time is coming. The time is coming. That's right. That's right. Look, when you getting that entertainment money, I don't care who you are, man. I mean, we don't know what it's like. Seriously, like, let's say an NBA player is going to make $20 million. And we know that now that's not even nothing for them to make. The whole bunch of them making more than $20 million, at least 40, 50 of them making $20 million, right? So when you're making $20 million, after taxes, you get about 50% haircut. So you're getting $10 million in your pocket after taxes. There's a 10-month payment schedule in the NBA. At least that's what it used to be in the 90s. But there's a 10-month payment. So that means you're getting, and you get paid twice a month. So you're getting $500,000 twice a month for 10 months. For how many years that you got that $20 million deal? You know what? You get used to that. Pearl Bailey said, "I tried poor and I tried rich, and I like rich better." You get used to that. And so Kyrie might say something about a flat earth. He might say something about a Hebrew, about a Semite. But when them Ashkenazis that own all of that networks Come at him, all of a sudden he's Muslim. Y'all notice that? All of a sudden he's Muslim. He don't want to talk about that other stuff no more. He's Muslim now. Because that money is good. Let me tell you something, brethren. We are living in a time, in the next, I don't know, well, we know, 3 years. This is the 16th day of the 7th month. You know that, right? Yesterday was the 15th day of the 7th month. This is the 16th day of the 7th month. We would be in the 2nd day of the Feast of Tabernacles right now. 3 years, the Spirit's going to be poured on us, man. And you know what? All them entertainers got to make the decision. Unfortunately, most of them are going to make the wrong decision. But some of them are going to make the right decision. They're going to have to give up the loot. They're going to have to give up the loot. They're going to have to if they're going to be saved. Can't be saved and keep the loot. Yes, I know they come out of projects and poverty. Some of them come out of real deep projects and poverty. But we're at the end now. This is a war. We're in a war right now. This is the war right here. And so they're going to have to make a decision. They can stay. See, Moses did. Moses did. Look, Acts chapter 7. Moses, Acts chapter 7. Moses was set up to be Pharaoh, man. Moses was being set up to be Pharaoh. That was happening with him. He was being set up to be Pharaoh. Let's see. Watch this. I'm going to start in Acts chapter 7. Acts chapter 7. Acts chapter 7. Let's start at verse, 20. Acts chapter 7, verse 20. In which time Moses was born and was exceeding fair and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptian and was mighty in words and deeds. So he was learned in all of the Egyptian, everything, their arts, their culture, their history. He know all. He was being raised to be Pharaoh, right? All right. Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews chapter 11. And let's go from verse 23. Hebrews chapter 11 from verse 23 down to verse 26. Actually, verse 27. Well, it's more, but let's go from Hebrews chapter 11 from verse 23 down to verse 29. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw that he was a proper child and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He didn't back up off his Hebrewism. He didn't become no Muslim. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yahweh than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Messiah greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of the blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians are saying to do, were drowned. There's going to have to be some Moses among some of these entertainers. They're going to have to esteem the reproach of Messiah greater riches than Egypt. They're going to have to choose to suffer affliction with us rather than continue to draw private jets and mansions, servants. Some of them are going to choose it. The majority won't, but some of them will. It's coming to that time. Also, I want to show you in the description box another thing. Well, there's this judge, this Yafet woman in Michigan. She put another spin on the bootstrap philosophy. So I put in the description box Martin Luther King on the bootstrap philosophy and this judge's version of it in the modern form. I want you to see that. That's in the description box. Also, now I want to ask a question. Now, I asked this question last week, and now we got, 3 weeks now after Asheville, Western North Carolina, completely destroyed. What I showed in this description box, a man from that area, and let me tell you something. The majority of that area, you know what was floating down them muddy rivers with people? Trump signs. Let me say it again. You know the majority of the signs that were floating down the muddy rivers with them people? Trump signs. Let me tell you something else. Usually, when some catastrophe happens, people are looking for somebody to blame, right? Usually, like on 9/11, they started blaming Osama bin Laden, right? They were blaming Osama bin Laden for 9/11, right? And then we were going after, him, right? After 9/11, they were blaming him with the state of Israel and the Palestinians, they blaming each other. Who's to blame when the entire family, 11 people in one house, are buried alive? Who's to blame? When whole towns no longer exist because mud has destroyed them. Who's to blame when they're getting cadaver dogs to try to find dead bodies that are buried under mounds of rubble? Who are they going to blame for that? Because let me just tell you what happened, brethren. Judgment came. Judgment came. There was this couple here in Florida. Their house flooded. They had just remodeled the house flooded. So that was after Helene. Then they went and got the house fixed, got new furniture, and then Milton came. All their new furniture sitting in the street. New furniture sitting in the street. Brethren, judgment came. I mean, it's quite obvious. Am I wrong about that? That wasn't just happenstance. Judgment came. And you and I know more is coming. More is coming. There's more coming. And it wasn't the first time. But on that scale, the way it happened, people buried alive, whole houses not only swept off their foundations, but buried with people in them, people trying to escape in cars, the cars and everything, buried. Judgment. That was judgment. There is no two ways you could say that, brethren. That was judgment. That was judgment. There's no two ways about it. The only one you could point to and say this came like this is the Most High. And if it's the Most High that allowed it to come, it's judgment. And guess what? More is coming. They all knew. The satellites told them Helene was coming. The satellites told them Helene was coming. It told all of us, right? Right? It told us at least a week in advance that this storm was coming. Like nobody was surprised that the storm came because everybody knew the storm was coming. But even with the knowledge that it was coming, it was so overwhelming in Western North Carolina and in Eastern Tennessee that they said, even though if they knew it was coming, there was nothing they could do. There was nothing they could have done to save people. Judgment. That was judgment. And it was a sign. Here we are 3 years from the 40th Jubilee. Here we are 3 years from the 40th Jubilee. That was judgment. And it calls for us to continue to seek the Most High. Continue. This is the thing, brethren. I have learned in my own personal prayers. When I'm praying for y'all, I'll be like, Father, Bless all the brothers and sisters whose total aim and goal is your glory, because that's what we all have in common. Couple things. I mean, we know certain truths that are in common with us, but really we're in common in we understand who we are. And our aim and goal is the glory of the Heavenly Father. That's our aim and goal, to glorify him. When we say we're going to trust in Yahweh with all our heart and lean not to our own understanding, in all our ways, acknowledge him and allow him to direct our paths. That means we are sold out to his glory. And all of us have that in common. Praise the Most High. And that's of us that are being awakened, and also that are going to be guided during the judgments that are about and are. I can't say about to fall anymore, because they just fell on North Carolina and Tennessee and in the coastline of Florida. Just fell. Even here, where I live in Central Florida, one of my neighbors came up to my house today and said, "Your house didn't get touched." She said, "Your house seems all right. Like nothing happened." You got to see my neighborhood. There's stuff all over the place, man. They're cleaning it up now, but there was trees down on top of people's houses here. This is Central Florida. And next door neighbor, the tree fell on his house. And then he came out the house and fell trying to look at it. Mess everywhere. The neighbor looked at me. I ain't say it. She said, looked at my house this morning. She said, "Your house is all right." Guess what? That's the Father. That's the Father did that. That's the Father did that. Brother, praise the Most High. My house, we lost power at 2:00 that morning. I think it was Tuesday night, last week it hit. And we got the power back by 9 a.m. There are people in my development here, 3,000, almost 3,000 houses, still don't got power. My mom's lost power for a whole week, but she had already planned to be on a cruise, and she was away for the whole week. When she came back, guess what else came back? Her power. That's the Most High. That's the Most High. And I'm telling you, you know what he says? 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Most High, even my refuge, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Brethren, trust the Father, Yah. Look at those videos in the description box. I'd like to hear from y'all on them. I picked those videos. Some of you may have already seen some of them, but look at those videos in the description box. And please get back to me. Email me. Oh, by the way, today is Wednesday. It's the 16th of October. I am planning on having a Zoom call this weekend, Saturday night. I'm going to put it out there tomorrow. All of y'all that have contacted me about the Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to contact you back on this Zoom call, okay? And then we'll get together on Saturday night, right? So I got all you that have contacted me, and we actually got enough now for the Memorial Day weekend. From everybody that committed to coming, we have more than enough. If somebody else wants to come, let me know. But from the brothers I already got, we got more than enough. So I'm going to contact y'all. It's at my email address. Let me put it in the description box, JD. I'm going to put it in the description box. Yeah, there it is in the description box. Don't worry about it, Hazai. You just contact me on that email. And then what'll happen is just, I can't talk to people that I can't tell you what you're saying. You're telling me you're not tech savvy, so you may not get it. But I'm going to send you an invite. If you send me something in an email saying you were coming, I'm going to send you something in the invite. Yeah, but I understand being not tech savvy. I'm in tech and I'm not tech savvy. Seriously. So, yeah, so I'm planning on getting that together tomorrow, and I'm going to put a Zoom call together, and we'll all meet on that. Okay, we'll all meet on that. And then once we do that, that'll be step one. It'll be this weekend. So now we're talking about 17, 18, 19th, the 19th. We'll meet on the 19th, yeah, and 19th on Saturday night, and we'll go over what we need to go over for Memorial Day weekend 2025. Looks pretty good at this point. I'm very encouraged by everybody that has said they're gonna come. We actually have a pretty good crowd, so it's yeah, exactly. We had a pretty good crowd. So I'm gonna probably do a Saturday night. I would say probably 8 o'clock, Brother Lonnie, probably 8 o'clock Saturday night. Something like that, something where most people will be available. I'm going to send an email out to everybody and set it up tomorrow. And I'll let everyone know at that point. We'll let everybody know. Okay. But yeah, because I was going to do it this past weekend, but as you know, I had to go to Connecticut. But yeah, by the grace of the Most High, I will do it. Yeah. All right. May the Most High bless you and keep you. And may he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom. Please look at them videos I put in the description box and let me know what your thoughts are. I'd really be interested in that. Thank you. May the Most High continue to bless you. Let's keep praying for each other. Shalom.